appreciation by demonstrating good sportsmanship and respect while playing, officiating, and everyone in attendance. This includes cheering for your team and not cheering the opposing team. Ensure that your behavior reflects the values that should be identified with these dedicated student athletes and coaches. The MIAA does not allow any player, coaches, or referees' names or players' numbers to be called out during the event. Inappropriate or unsportsmanlike comments or conduct will result in your removal from this competition without warning. Please represent your team and your school accordingly. As a reminder, for the safety of everyone in attendance, only players, coaches, officials, and game personnel are permitted on the court at any time. This includes during plays, at breaks in the game, and immediately following the game. At this time, would you please rise for the playing of our national anthem? Thank you for your cooperation and best of luck to both teams.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Milford TV Executive Director Tim Coet here with you on the call. We're back for night 2 of our spring sports season coverage. We're back here indoors in the gym to bring you another edition of Scarlet Hawks boys volleyball, and an outstanding game about to take place here in the Milford gym as the Scarlet Hawks welcome in the Brookline Warriors, 2 top-ranked volleyball programs in the state. So we expect an outstanding level of play here on just the early days of the spring season. It's game number 2 on the schedule for Milford. They come in 1-0, fresh off of a 3-set sweep win against Taunton last Thursday. And for Brookline, this is their 2023-24 season debut. As we mentioned during our coverage last Thursday, we thought we might call an audible for our sports coverage for this week. We had hoped to get outdoors for some of the other spring teams this week, but with the weather looking particularly nasty on Wednesday and Thursday, it is very doubtful we'll be able to get out to Pheno Field or to the turf field this week unless the forecast changes considerably. So we thought we'd take advantage and sneak in an additional early season game here for the boys volleyball team. And excited to be here for a big matchup. As we mentioned during our coverage last Thursday, Milford has officially gotten moved up to Division II. I beg your pardon, up from Division II to Division I for this season. And Brookline, one of their new Division I foes, is now set to serve to open up this first set action. Happy to be back with you once again with live coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV. We're live locally this evening on our Milford TV educational channel, as well as our Verizon high definition channel, and streaming worldwide on our YouTube channel. Service error after the opening point went to the Warriors. One of the tri-captains serving to open the match, Alex Magula, listed as a sophomore, a junior, and a senior, the 3 captains for the Brookline Warriors. We tracked Milford's schedules all the way back to the 2012 season. We could not find a time these two teams have met face-to-face. So two programs without a lot of familiarity with one another. Here's Alex Guerra lining up for a big return that was absorbed. And now awkwardly off the hands there, but it was effective in the end up front for Brookline as it got Milford out of position. And the Warriors will take an early 3-1 lead. Milford really was never challenged at any point in the match against Taunton last Thursday. It was a relatively comfortable 3-set sweep. Serving now for the Warriors is their junior captain, Kristaps Vevars. Nice dig by the Milford back row, sent over with one hit, but a thunderous return very quickly from Brookline, and showing good power here early on. We had a lengthy delay before we were able to get this varsity action started, as the JV teams for these two schools ended up going the distance. It was a long and grueling match. A lot of twists and turns, but the Milford JV squad was able to emerge with a narrow margin of victory in a deciding third set. Very closely played game, very lengthy game. And so that ended up pushing us pretty far back from our originally slated 5:45 start for this varsity action, instead getting underway right around 6:30. Bit of a conference there amongst the officiating crew, but now Vevars with another serve, with Brookline on top 5-1, and another rifled serve that was dug out by the back row and now flipped back across by Guerra up at the net front. And now Milford challenging. A nice job at the net front. That was Ryan Franklin with that block. Now it is Owen Callahan on serve, and Milford's service game has not been particularly clean here in the early going. Already a couple of service errors. Milford not yet able to gain a foothold into this opening set, with Brookline up now 6-2, right back on serve for number 0, Rowan Miller, a senior. That one met initially by Gustavo da Silva, and now floated back over towards the near side. That drifts out of play, and a rare error on the Brookline side in this early going. Still a close margin on the scoreboard, a 3-point differential. And Milford hoping for better results now at the service line with their captain, Alex Guerra. Out on the back row, now lined up from the far side. Milford lobbying for a call that does not come. That dropped in for a nice cross-court kill for Brookline. And now Guerra down to the knees, and Milford getting bailed out with a nice roll over the top of the net, and now a return that gets blasted out of play. Milford trying to set up a play. The ball drifted on Ryan Franklin, but fortunately for the Scarlet Hawks, that ball took a roll over the net. And Scarlet Hawks walk away with the point. Now a 7-4 Brookline lead, as the serve now will come from Marcelo Gomes. Set it up for the spike. Milford able to take some of the speed off. And now Gomes from the outside position and sends that into the net. Amir Tomer now serving on the Brookline side. Not looking at all like their first game of the season. 5 seniors on this roster to go along with 3 juniors, but quite an underclassmen contingent. 4 sophomores and a freshman all making the varsity squad, as that ball is going to ricochet off of Jimmy Ayala and out of play. And right now, Brookline continuing to maintain about a 4-point edge. Liam Raybold, one of those underclassmen, now about to serve for Brookline. He commits the service error. Continuing to see our YouTube viewership climb. Welcome everybody in as we settle into what we hope will be an exciting match throughout between 2 quality programs. Milford with a good play up front. They pull themselves now to within 2. And it's Arthur Gomes not wearing the libero jersey for this first set. Serve away. And again, Milford able to neutralize the spike. And a second time, a good block up front. And now it is Alex Guerra who returns the favor with a spike of his own. Excellent play right up at the net for the Scarlet Hawks. Guerra, Newman, Callahan, De Silva, all chipping in. Joey Newman now fired up. And now Brookline looking to take some of the speed off of that return. They do it again. Guerra steps up for the dig. And now this ball pulverized right over to the Brookline bench. And there's Callahan ready with a quick play in response. And Milford now starting to find their form as they tie this first set up at 9. And no doubt for our viewers at home, you can feel the energy difference here in the gym tonight compared to what we experienced for that season debut on Thursday. It was a very lightly attended game, pretty quiet crowd throughout, but a much larger and much more enthusiastic crowd for this game here tonight. The fans knowing very well the quality of competition on the floor tonight. As that last ball deflects out of play along the far sideline, although we will have another brief conference between the officials. Right now the scoreboard reads 10-9 for Milford, and that is where it will stay as Gomes is ready to continue his service game. Set up towards the near side. There's Milford timing the block perfectly. Owen Callahan leading the way that time. And so after a great start, a 7-3 start for Brookline, Milford has gone on a nice run to pull ahead 11-9 and force the Warriors into the first time out of the game. The head coach for the Warriors is Dana Jones. Of course, Andrew Mainini, head coach of the Scarlet Hawks, talking things over with his team, who's had a nice response here after getting challenged quite a bit in the opening stretch of this match. Currently on an 8-2 run to pull ahead. Still plenty of time to go in this opening set. So again, we welcome in all of our viewers checking out our Scarlet Hawks athletics coverage presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Once again, thrilled to have Rail Trail partnering with us as our presenting sponsor for all of our sports coverage here on Milford TV. The Let's Go Milford chant rises up amongst the student section, all standing, feeling a bit like a playoff atmosphere here in the very first day of the month of April, the start of the spring season. Arthur Gomes with another serve. This ball blasted to the back row, takes a bounce off the basketball net, but Milford staying with it, and they're going to run out of touches. And so Brookline able to ice Milford's momentum with that timeout call. They get the side out, and now it is back to Alex Smagula behind the service line. Dug out by De Silva. And a double touch called on Callahan. So back to even. Left-handed serve away from Smagula. Here's Guerra. He blasts that way out of play along the near sideline. Silva again, and back to Guerra, and this time he gets the deflection off the front row. A nice diving effort. I think that was Smagula going headlong towards his own bench. Knotted up at 12. Jones barking out directions as Jimmy Ayala releases a serve. And play halted with the violation on the Brookline side. Both of these teams were Final Four teams a year ago. Milford in Division II, Brookline in Division I. Touch return that time. Callahan adjusts. Here's Guerra, and he blasts that off of number 32. Nico Gutierrez goes out of play. We saw Alex Guerra even picking on some of his JV teammates in the warm-up, blasting those hard returns. It's just not a lot of reaction time when the ball's coming at you with that kind of velocity. Meanwhile, another violation on the Brookline side of the floor. Milford now will take a 15-12 lead. This time, the serve goes out of play. Just a 2-point lead for Milford. Kristaps Vevars serving for Brookline. High looping serve. Ended up a little bit closer perhaps than Milford was expecting, but it was out of play just outside of that near side corner. Three-point advantage now for Milford. Here's Owen Callahan on serve. Delivered right to the middle of the floor. Now set up to the far side. Guerra was there for the block. Serve away, and the serve is out. Miller on serve now for the visitors. And prior to that return on the near side, play halted, point goes to Milford. It's an 18-14 lead. And another block attempted up front by De Silva and Franklin. This time the ball deflects out of play. Ayala setting it up for Gomes. He goes towards the far side and just out of Brookline's reach. Gomes, the sophomore, back out to serve. Set up for the spike, and this time Milford spread out too much. And that is the sophomore, Liam Raybold. Plenty of height and plenty of muscle behind those spikes at the net front. Serve now from Tomer. And Milford getting confused there, not sure what happened as Joey Newman was sailing to the top of the net to deliver that ball down and then stopped in his tracks. Some miscommunication between Newman and Owen Callahan. Getting back on the same page. You can see the two continuing to work it out as that ensuing serve from Brookline goes out of play. Milford now 5 points away from an opening set win, but still a close margin. Here's De Silva now serving, and he sends it out on the near sideline. And so really outside of Arthur Gomes, Milford's service games have been a little rough in this opening set. A lot of errors. Reset now with just a 2-point difference on the scoreboard, but another service error, this time from the senior captain for Brookline, Eli Trout. So here is Gomes back on serve. That's good news for the Hawks. A couple of lobs get the ball back across the net for Brookline. There's Callahan changing up the timing. And now everyone getting tangled up on the floor on the Milford side. And play back and forth at the net. There's Newman using the height to his advantage. Brookline goes racing towards the sidelines. They can't save it. Ball goes sailing out of play behind the Milford bench, and one of the longer rallies of this opening set goes to Milford. Section again making their voices heard as that ball just narrowly goes out beyond the back line. That was very close. And another short serve for Alex Magula. So both teams now with service issues, and this is going to send Brookline into another timeout. So right now Milford with the 23-18 lead. They need just 2 more points. It was all Brookline to start. They opened this first set on a 7-3 run, but Milford was able to take the lead. They've maintained it since, and now just 2 points left to get to start out this match on top. So we will certainly get some adjusted details out there for our coverage plans moving forward as this spring season progresses. Again, we're just now at the start of April 1st today. So a lot of spring sports action to come as the weather continues to improve. We'll certainly hope to get outside with more regularity to cover some of the other spring teams. But while we have the opportunity, so thrilled to be back here for a second time to catch some early season boys volleyball action. An entertaining first set so far. Milford back out on the floor. The Warriors about to follow suit. Callahan, Guerra, Franklin, De Silva, Gomes, and Ayala on the floor for the Scarlet Hawks. 23-18, Ayala to serve. Meanwhile, some more logistical issues here as right now the official calls over one of the Brookline captains. Quite sure what that exchange was about, but now Ayala given the go-ahead. Deflected from the front. Here is Guerra. They're going to say that one went out of play. Bavars again on serve. Good hard serve absorbed by Guerra. Now Franklin. He sends that down out of the reach of Eli Trout to set up match point opportunities here now for the Scarlet Hawks. It's going to be Owen Callahan looking to finish it off. Another left-handed serve, this time on the Milford side. And a nice job changing up the tempo there from Amir Tomer. Still match point here as that spike attempt from Ryan Franklin immediately came back on him. And the serve from Brookline goes out of play. That is how this first set will come to an end. Serving an issue for both teams at times in the set. Proves to be the deciding point here in set number one. So Milford takes it 25-21. They take an early hold of this match between two top programs here in the state of Massachusetts. We will pause here briefly on the broadcast while the two teams switch sides of the floor. We'll have second set action for you coming up in just a moment. Stay with us here on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. back inside the Milford gym as second set action begins here in this edition of Milford Scarlet Hawks Varsity Boys Volleyball, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Milford winning the opening set, and a hero play there for Arthur Gomes, followed by some stout play at the net. And that is how the second set begins, with a hard-earned point for Milford. Silva now to Callahan, and then to Alex Guerra, as that ball goes careening out of play off the deflection. Milford trying to carry momentum right over from their first set win. A 25-21 win in the opening set. As that time a little flick from Kristaps Svevars gives Brookline their first points. Now set up for Newman. He drives it down. Brookline in a scramble, but sending that ball underneath the net. Alex Doiron now serving for Milford. Ball going across the net front, and a little indecision, and a very half-hearted call there by the official on the podium. And some conversation now to take place. That ball went down the line. It's hard to tell from our vantage point. Right now, the two captains now involved in the conversation. The rest of the players slowly creeping their way over. Trying to pop an ear off the headset here so we can try to hear the conversation, but a little too much chatter in the crowd to be able to hear exactly what's going on. But right now, it seems to be the Brookline captain displeased with what the official has to say. And so it looks like in the end, they'll replay the point. So they put the scoreboard back to a 3-1 margin. And that brings the serve back over onto the Milford side for Doiron. Surprised the official in front of the scorer's table didn't have a better line of sight on where that ball came down. Set up for a hard return again down the line, but this time more clearly out of play. One start to the second set for Milford. Nicely dug out by Gomes. The setup for Guerra. Ball comes right back onto the Milford side. Now Guerra with a soft lob. And this ball all the way over behind the official's podium. Guerra trying to play it from there, but play whistled to a halt. Svevars now serving for Brookline. Callahan will set it up. Guerra unloads to the back and out. Brookline with the iPad and the iPhone set up on tripods just in front of the back wall, living dangerously with that equipment in a very vulnerable position. Meanwhile, the Milford crowd getting more and more creative with their cheers as we get deeper into this match. Side out for Milford, now Callahan serving. Milford up 5-3, and Callahan again sends the serve too long. Coach Mainini immediately over to the sideline for a conversation. Milford with a strong showing in their service game last week against Taunton. It's been a little bit more of a struggle. Meanwhile, a service error here for Brookline. However, Milford whistled for the infraction on their side. We're tied up at 5. And another errant serve for the Warriors, and this time Milford will get it back. And that ball very close to that back line. That's a couple of serves now in this second set that have been very close. And that one looked like it may have come down on the line, but there won't be any conversation here. Milford certainly felt as though that ball came down in play. Just getting a second look at it on the delay on our live stream coverage. Too close to call at full speed. Certainly give the officials' call the benefit of the doubt. Milford able to immediately hop back in front. Ayala serving. Good adjustment by Guerra. Now it's Gomes. This ball just narrowly misses the rafters, and then Newman sends it squarely into the net. Some good luck on the Brookline side as that ball went up through the rafters, did not make contact, and came down on the Milford side, and then Newman couldn't make the play from there. But again, we haven't really seen either team so far able to go on an extended run. Scramble here for Brookline. Milford ending that rally, giving the point to the Warriors, and we're knotted up at 8. That time Newman with some redemption as he fires that ball towards the back row, drawing some heavy contact. Gets Milford the quick side out. The Hawks back on top by a point. Brookline able to dot that far sideline. Alex Magula on serve for Brookline, and then a hard return for Guerra. This ball's flying back and forth over the net. Milford with a block. Newman there again. And now the setup for Guerra, and he has Magula swinging and missing. Guerra gets the kill. So a seesaw here in the second set. Back to Doiron on serve. Now at 10-9. That ball blasted out of play from the front row for Brookline. Right now, the skill level has looked relatively even for these two schools. Starting to gauge now how Milford will stack up against Division I competition. That ball goes down the line, executed well. I'll say it was a deflection on the Milford side. We're so used to the Scarlet Hawks trying to measure themselves up against competition like Westfield and Agawam and other D2 schools, but it's a new field of teams to worry about for this season, as that ball just eluded the grasp of a sliding Owen Callahan, and the Warriors battle back again to tie the score, now at 11. Dug out by Gustavo da Silva. Now a cross-court attempt for Guerra. Too sharp an angle, that ball goes out of play. So Vavar is trying to settle Brookline into an extended groove here. Set up again for Alex Guerra. That ball off a light fixture, and still Brookline able to get it over. Now Franklin getting in on the action and punched down in front of Gomes. Brookline gets the kill. The light's still shaking up on the rooftop as Brookline now takes the 13-11 lead. Another hard hop off the ceiling. Milford plays it from there. And now set up for a return on the far side. Back to Guerra. And over. But out on the return attempt for Brookline. So Milford gets the side out. Still just a 1-point difference on the scoreboard. Back to Callahan. Owen Callahan really struggling in this match to find his form on serve. He's made a number of quality plays throughout this match, but the service game has eluded him thus far. Brookline serving up by 2. Ball playable for Da Silva, had to change course right at the last moment. And now a nice return for the sophomore, Nico Gutierrez. He goes cross court out of Milford's reach, and Brookline now with a 15-12 lead. Holmes pushes to the front. Set up for Alex Guerra. Brookline allows it to drop. Guerra now serving. And a hard redirect there. And a nice effort for Gutierrez. Might have gone down hard on the knee, but he gets right back up. Too strong for Guerra. So again, Milford, outside of Arthur Gomes, has not been able to get themselves on an extended run. They trail now 16-14. Drives that ball across court. Here's Franklin. He spikes it. Newman will return to the floor. He replaces Doiron. Ayala steps back to serve. Across the net front, and that return blasted out. So Milford battling back to tie the second set now at 16. And now Traub gets tangled up as he goes down to the floor, and that serve not returnable. (17-16) Milford as Ayala's serve goes out on the far side. So we will head into the late stages of this second set, all tied up. Amir Tomer serving for the visitors. Service error brings a quick side out for the Hawks. And now Gustavo will serve here for Milford. Drops that right towards the near sideline, but out. Exchange of service errors. The second set still up for grabs. That ball just sneaks over. Callahan will set it for Newman. And Newman with a nice block. Callahan for Newman, he heaves it across. Newman there again, blocking traffic. This time it's Gomes, and Gomes is rejected. Big play for the sophomore captain, Smagula. And this will allow Brookline to retake the lead. They're 6 points away from leveling this match. Eli Traub now serving. Silva waits for that ball to come down, very close to a double touch. Fired across. Callahan leading the way. A return for Gomes is sent back, but out on the near sideline. Milford ties it back up, 19 all. And Gomes will now serve, and some more chatter. Officially, both captains coming over, but a few words between the official and the Milford captain. So now here is Arthur. Ball drifting to the far side. And Alex Guerra, one of his hardest kills of the night. And the lead swings back to Milford, 20-19. Should be an outstanding time for Milford to put together a run on serve. Nicely blocked up front again. This time it gets through to the back. Callahan will set it. Here's Newman. He's rejected. Now with his back to the net, he sends it over. And a couple of diving plays keep Brookline in it. Now Newman pushes to the back row. And good court vision there for Alex Smagula. He found the lonely spot on the floor. Coach Mainini talking about adjustments out on the floor. Can't give up that much real estate. Here's Guerra. He gets the deflection. No, out. another quick swing of momentum puts Brookline in front 21-20. They're 4 points away from the set. Callahan sets for Guerra, who blasts it far out of play. And meanwhile, are they going to say that ball was deflected? We're going to have another exchange amongst the captains, and now this ball will drift back over onto the Milford side, so they changed the call. That ball deflected on the way out, so Milford gets the kill, and instead of Brookline in front, it's 21-all. That ball comes back across out of play. Milford pulls ahead. Alex Doiron waiting for the go-ahead. First. Some communication coming in from the Brookline sideline. And so it has been the sophomore captain, Alex Magula, who's continued to be the leading voice out on the floor. Unless there was possibly a typo in the roster we received prior to the game. We had Magula listed as a sophomore. Take a second look at it, indeed. Not playing like a sophomore, not acting like a sophomore out there, looking like a team leader. As this ball goes out of play, Milford will take the point yet again, and this will force the Warriors into a timeout. Milford won the opening set 25-21. They're now ahead 23-21. Trying to take control here against a fellow Final Four participant from a season ago. Last year, Brookline in Division I earned the number 11 seed. They finished the regular season with a record of 12-6. They had a solid run through the Division I tournament. Victories over Revere, Acton, Boxborough. They ultimately advanced all the way to the Final Four, where they took on Newton North. That was where their season ended. That was a five-setter in the Final Four, where Brookline fell to Newton North. A tough way for their season to come to an end. Newton North would ultimately fall to Needham, who took the Division I crown in a three-set sweep. But a 23-21 score here in the second set as we come back out of the timeout. There's Ryan Franklin set up for the spike attempt, but Brookline was able to absorb. Two officials conferring, awarding that point to Brookline. So a 1 point difference as the service game goes back to Vavars. Callahan will set it for Guerra. He gets the deflection off the front row. And this will set up a couple of set point chances now for the Scarlet Hawks, up 24-22. Back into a timeout. So Milford started from behind in the first set before turning it on to take the first set. Here in the second, started off well. Brookline with a mini run to respond, and then a whole lot of exchanges of leads as the second set has gone along. Again, not really a lot separating these two teams on the scoreboard all night long. With just a 4-point edge in the first set, even closer here in the second. Milford already back out there and ready to go, and Owen Callahan looking for some redemption at the service line. Serve away, this will fall right in the middle of the floor, and Milford able to control it. And Brookline arguing again. They wanted a call that Milford reached over, but it does not look like the officials are inclined to change the call, so Milford celebrates a 25-22 second set victory, and the team's already exchanging sides of the floor now, so the conversation with the Brookline captain will not change the outcome. Milford claims another set here. They take control now, up 2-0. Another quick timeout on the broadcast. We'll have set number 3 for you when we come back next on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. We welcome you back inside the Milford gym. We're about to start the third set here in this matchup between the Scarlet Hawks and the visiting Brookline Warriors. This coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Check out their newly opened location on Main Street in Milford. Third set very quickly getting underway. It's not been a whole lot separating these two teams all night long, but Milford has been able to win the key points when they've needed to. Milford has really excelled up at the net front in this game. That's really where they've been the strongest. Here's Guerra, gets the hard ricochet. It's going to ping pong around on the ceiling, and Brookline still able to stay with it. It's the second light fixture that's been hit tonight. Joey Newman dropping that ball down where no one could get to it. The ball hit a light, a rafter, might have bounced on a speaker up there, and still Brookline was able to make the play. So 1-1 here to start the third set. Doiron now will serve for Milford. Looking to go down the line, but that serve out. Guerra. That ball drops in for the kill. Waiting to see that clip to the front row, but drops in. Now back to Callahan. He's able to serve out the deciding point in the second set. And nicely done at the front. That got the players on the floor fired up. Alex Guerra. Trying to stay humble after. Coach Mainini with a bit of a smile on his face. Hoping to see his team take care of business here in the third set and not give Brookline any life. Brookline has stayed confident. Some tough losses in these first two sets. 25-21, 25-22. Meanwhile, the official down on the floor, over to have a conversation with Coach Mainini. Athletic Director Peter Boucher over there as well. Yeah. 3-2 Hawks. Serve away now for Callahan. Pushed all the way up against the net, and now driven down with a hard return and a kill for Kristaps Vivars. Miller will now serve. All tied up at 3 here to open up the third set. Set up for Guerra on the near side this time. Goes cross court for another kill. Milford has kept their team stats close to the vest the last few seasons. We have not seen player stats listed on Max Preps, and the team has elected to try to keep a lot of that in-house to not help out their competition, as they have had aspirations for deep playoff runs in these last several seasons, and this year might have the loftiest expectations yet, but confident in saying that Guerra was the kills leader through that first match against Taunton. And similar situation here. That ball just drifting over the net from Franklin. Vavar sends it back across. Here's Arthur Gomes with the return. And now slammed over the middle and down for the kill from Amir Tomer. Some Brookline fans in the house. Raising up some cheers after that nice play. This one's set up for De Silva. He blasts it to the back, but Gutierrez there with the dig. He'll make a play here again. This time, Tomer sends the ball into the net. Milford gets the side out. Ayala will serve now at 5-all. Dug out right in the middle of the floor by Tomer. Now juggled around at the net front. And Guerra able to underhand it back across. That ball just out, another very close one. Again, they go back to Vavars, and he gets the deflection sent out of play. Again, we keep things very, very close. Coach Jones right now talking with the captain, Alex Magula, before this serve. And that's dropped just out of play. We have seen some balls miss by millimeters off that back line at various points in this match. Silva now serving, and that ball is in for the ace. Had Brookline bailing, but that ball dropped in well inside the back line. And Silva answers back with the service error. So an 8-7 score. Liam Raybold wearing the number 99, a couple of uniform numbers in the 90s on this Brookline squad. Here's Newman, he unleashes and gives the crowd a look after getting the deflection and the kill. It's Milford on top, 9-7. Now Arthur Gomes will serve. As Callahan setting it up for Guerra. A little softy down the line, doesn't stay in. And they'll say that went outside the antenna. Callahan goes to get that one. Right back to Guerra. And now this ball tough off the hands of De Silva. Goes out of play. Milford 9 and Brookline 9. Here's Newman, and he catches. Vavar is up high as that ball deflects out of play. Newman with the chest puffed out as he goes to the sideline. Doiron in to serve. And now this ball blasted, and Franklin tried to make the adjustment. Couldn't keep that ball in the air. And tied up now at 10. Here's Franklin now. He pushes to the middle. Lined up for Vavars to the back. That's out. Another quick side out, another 1-point lead on the Milford side. Callahan sends that serve over. Diving play by Doiron. Callahan sets it for Guerra, and Guerra ends it. Another kill for Alex. Over the middle, that ball dropped in. We don't have a number 10 listed on the varsity roster for Brookline. Zach Spencer listed at number 10 on the JV roster. Not sure if that's a swing player into the game here in the later stages, as Milford can't get that ball back across. That little 2-point lead quickly evaporates. Tied up now at 12 as Miller will serve for the Warriors. Service error. I'm not sure we've had a lead really any bigger than about 4 points all night long. It's been that close. Both teams meeting each other at the top of the net. The ball goes out of play. The point awarded to Brookline. Nico Gutierrez serving for the Warriors. Quick change of direction executed by Ryan Franklin. Back to Ayala on serve. That swipes to the back. That's out beyond the back line. So another 2-point lead for Milford. Had to adjust to send that over. Newman as well had to twist the body around, but he gets the return across. Now lined up for Gomes, and he is rejected. Smagula in on that play. Liam Raybold in the area as well. Dug out by Guerra. Here's De Silva now. The play quickly ends with a point for Brookline, and so again, a 2-point lead for Milford, and a quick 2-point response for Brookline. Tied at 15 as that serve drops in. Milford not quick enough to react. Back to Kristaps Vavars. Gomes gets to that one, but the deflection goes hard out of play. So now a 2-point swing for Brookline. Callahan will set it for Gomes, and he has that ball come awkwardly off the hands. And so here's about one of the biggest runs we've seen all night, from 2 points down to now 3 points ahead. Brookline rattles off 5 straight. As that serve goes out of play by Vavars. Milford needed the side out. Down by 2. Getting late in the third set. Brookline hoping to keep everybody around a bit longer. Silva, meanwhile, sends a serve long out of play. And again, back to Gomes on that far side, this time effective. Trailing 19-17. Nice return by Amir Tomer. And Brookline now within 5 points of pushing us to a 4th set. Here's Smagula. Now set up to the back row. Callahan, nice adjustment to drift that ball back over. Now from the far side, this ball rejected, drifts towards the back, and Brookline cannot get there. Milford trailing 20-18 now. Here is Doiron. And a great play by Alex. Here's Guerra now. And now set up over the middle for Vavars. A little soft return. Gomes now lines it up for Guerra. He goes down the line, but sends it too long. This has been a resilient set for the Warriors. Here's Franklin now, catches the back row. 2 players go after it, one-handed, all the way back over the net, and very close to being in. That ball missed the near sideline by an inch or 2 at most. Service game now for Owen Callahan. And a spike for Vavars. Nothing Milford could do. That was set up perfectly. Great vertical leap there for Kristaps. So now the serve. Back with Rowan Miller. He sends it down the line. Here's Guerra. Hard deflection. Miller is there. Brookline gets the return. Here's Guerra again. This time a hard deflection and over towards the Milford bench, out of play. Milford gets to the 20-point threshold, still down by 2. Alex Guerra. And again, it is what has been some of the biggest success for Brookline throughout this game, and setting up for those big spikes at the net. They were able to exploit that quite a bit early in the first set. Milford seemed to make some good adjustments to neutralize through the remainder of the first set and the second. As De Silva gets the block, but the ball goes out of play. And for the first time all match, Coach Mainini is forced to call a timeout, as Brookline will have set point chances to extend things to a fourth set on top 24-20. Milford will have one more home game coming up later on this week. They'll be home on Wednesday to take on Medfield before they play their first road games of the season on Thursday at Newton South, and then early next week against Cambridge Ringe and Latin before they return home on April 11th for a matchup against Acton Boxborough. So that's a little bit of a look at the road ahead. Quite a bit of home action here early on. 4 out of the first 6 here in the Milford gym. Trying to take advantage of the home court. But they have their backs against the wall here in the third set. Set point chances here for the Warriors. Here's De Silva, he goes cross court, nice diving play to save it. Here's Vavars now to the back, that's too long. A quick look up to the official on the Brookline side, hoping to get a deflection call, but nothing doing there. And so Milford with 1 set point saved. And a rotational miscue there on the Brookline side. Careless error and a second set point saved. It's been very stoic on the Brookline sideline from the coaching staff. Not much emotion. Coach Mainini a bit more animated on the Milford sideline. Still Brookline set point. Ayala's serve met by Vavars. He'll step up to the net. A soft return, and this ball will drift into the crowd and will send us on to a fourth set. Brookline takes the third, 25-22. Milford trying to fight back there in the end, but Brookline with a good effort, and so 2 sets to 1 now. Milford still in front. See how the Scarlet Hawks respond as we move on to set number 4 after a quick timeout here on the broadcast. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV, presented by Rail Trail. Back for more here in the Milford gym. Brookline with a 25-22 win in set 3, so about to begin set number 4. Coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. Patio season is here. You can book your reservations today for the brand new patio space over at the Rail Trail location here in Milford. Outdoor seating at their Hudson location as well. You can check them out online or on social media. Hard deflection out of play as Milford takes the first point here in the 4th set. Milford certainly getting pushed more tonight than they did last week against the Taunton Tigers. Still in a strong position here, up 2-1. See how they respond after losing their first set of the young season. And there is the block for Joey Newman. Another excellent play for the senior, who's really shined here tonight. Meanwhile, the serve from Gomes that time sails out of play. Gula with the first serve for Brookline here in the 4th set. And the result is the kill for Alex Guerra. Quick side out for the Hawks. Doiron now serving on the Milford side. Lobbed back over by Brookline, set up again for Guerra, and this time delivers it out of play beyond the back line. The crowd a bit quieter now than they were earlier in the match. Student section seated for the time being. Meanwhile, Milford in a scramble. Callahan with a nice play with his back to the net. Vavars gets the kill for Brookline. The Warriors pull it right back to within 1 point. Tomer now, and Milford, excellent awareness there as De Silva went up. Let that ball go, sensing it would go out of play, and that's exactly what happened. Now 5-3. Callahan serving. Takes it down the line, borderline, but Brookline elected to play it. Now Gomes sets it up for Guerra. Fingertips delivers it back across. Now Vavars to the back row, all the way back to the corner, and no one can catch up. Rowan Miller serving for the visiting Brookline Warriors. 1 point difference on the scoreboard. Gomes pushes to the front. Callahan sets. Guerra returns. And now again, Guerra blasts it and gets a deflection. Guerra anxiously awaiting Brookline to send the ball back across. 2-point edge for the Hawks. Dug out by Vavars, set up for Gutierrez. Franklin with a block. And Brookline can't regroup. So right now, Joey Newman on the sidelines, and Milford just showing their depth and versatility. Franklin and Newman both so tough on that front row, and meanwhile, Milford sneaks in an ace inside that back row. It's the second time we've seen that tonight where Brookline misjudges. Milford with a 4-point lead. And this ball comes off the hands of Vavars, no one there to play it. And just about the largest, if not the largest lead we've seen for either team at any point tonight. Milford up 9-4. Here's Vavars down the line. Callahan steps into it. Doiron sets. And that goes over the net outside the antenna. Milford lead back down to 4. This ball rejected. Milford late to react. And again, good communication after the play for the Scarlet Hawks. Some sneaky quickness there on the serve for Gutierrez. 2 quick points back for Brookline. Picking that same spot on the floor, this time dug out. Ball ends up out of play right in front of our broadcast setup. Good effort there for the Brookline captain, Alex Magula. Went hard right by the bleachers. Looks to be okay. A 10-7 lead now for the Hawks. Ayala serving. Just have not seen a comfortable lead for either of these teams. It has not been that kind of game. Ball again up by the rafters, comes down for Callahan. Swung back across by De Silva, and Brookline can't return from there. De Silva serving. Eleven to 9 now as the ball goes back to the Brookline side of the floor for the serve for Ethan Traub. And here is Newman. Newman gets the kill. Back out on the floor and again serving as a big-time weapon for these Scarlet Hawks. Whistle halts play. Fraction from Milford. And again, it narrows us to a 2-point difference. Rula serving. Dug out by Guerra. Milford saves it. Gutierrez unloads. This ball continues to bounce around, punched back across, but out of play by De Silva. De Silva went all the way around behind his teammates on the Milford bench to try to make the play. 1-point lead now for Milford. It was as many as 5 earlier in the set. Newman uncorks one, but this time too long. I beg your pardon, getting the deflection on the way out. So Newman with another kill. It keeps Milford in front now 13-11. With Doiron on serve. Diving play again for Callahan. And now a long way for Brookline to go. They can't get there. Excellent effort there, especially for Callahan, to keep that ball in play. Milford gets the point. Up to a 14-11 lead. This time the serve goes out. Now for Tomer. Callahan the set for Guerra. And the ball goes deflecting out of play. Our broadcast table continues to be in the line of fire in this third set. Milford lead is 3. As Callahan's serve sails across. And now Callahan with another diving play. Milford's going to get whistled for the double hit. Back to Miller. That ball will not come back across after the return for Alex Guerra, and he will immediately step back on serve. Three-point lead now for Milford. Fourth set action here in the Milford gym. Milford up 2-1. Getting later into the evening hours, now past 8 o'clock. Here's Vavars. Nice quick hands there for Arthur as he gets to this one again. Now it's Gutierrez. Front row takes something off of that one. Callahan. And back to Gomes. And the deflection up front for Brookline goes out of play. Milford with a 17-13 lead now. Infraction for Brookline. Again, the Warriors players protest. And right now, the official saying she made a mistake. See at the end of that exchange, the official down by the scorer's table patting her chest saying, "It was my mistake." And so meanwhile, it seems like the official up on the podium is agreeing with the original call. So right now, timeout is called. This will give the officials a chance to confer and the players as well. Right now, the scoreboard reads 18-13 in favor of Milford. As again, we take you deeper into the evening hours here in this coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. And of course, for any of our Milford viewers tuned into this coverage tonight, we hope you will join us tomorrow evening as we will be bringing you live results from Milford's 2024 town election. It is election day in Milford tomorrow, so of course if you are a registered voter here in Milford, we encourage you to head out to the polls tomorrow. A couple of contested races on the ballot, including the race for Milford School Committee, also contested races for Milford's Board of Health, as well as the trustees of Vernon Grove Cemetery. And so once the polls close at 8 o'clock tomorrow, you can check in with us on our Milford TV public channel or our Verizon HD channel, as we'll be bringing you the results as they become available at the polling locations. Come back out of the timeout. Scoreboard continues to show 18-13. And now Alex Guerra given the go-ahead. Delivers the serve right to the center of the Brookline side of the floor. Now diving play for Alex. Here's Gomes from the near side. Push to the back. Now Vavars, he gets rejected. Quick hands by the Brookline libero. And now hard blast for Gutierrez goes out of play. 19-13 now for the Hawks. Set up again for Gutierrez, and he is rejected. And that ricochet just barely sneaks out of play along the near sideline. Callahan trying a quick delivery towards the center of the net, nobody home. Milford not wanting to get sloppy now, this close to the finish. And nothing sloppy about that. The spike for Ryan Franklin. And the finish line is in sight. 20-15. 5 points left to get for Milford. Jimmy Ayala now serving for the home team. Vavars is rejected, and that ball drops down. Gustavo Da Silva with the big play. Four points left for Milford as Brookline will carry into another timeout. We'll sneak in the timeout as well. It's closing time here in the fourth set. Milford looking to close in on their second victory of the season. We'll see if they can wrap up this fourth set when we come back next on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics presented by Rail Trail. Milford already back on the floor, and Brookline now follows suit. .8:16 in the evening here in Milford, a late one in the gym tonight. As Ayala releases another serve, Milford on top 21-15. And there is Newman this time Brookline keeps that ball airborne. And Milford called for the double hit. They are serving for Brookline. Here's Newman again. Deflected, out of play. Another kill for Joey. Gustavo De Silva now will serve. Service error gives Brookline the quick side out. (22-17) as Traub waits to deliver the serve. Substitution here for Brookline. Traub serve away. This ball comes awkwardly off of Milford's hands, back to the middle of the floor. And Alex Guerra gets the kill. He'll take them any way they come. Here is Gomes. And Newman with another huge block to put Milford right on the doorstep. Match points coming up for the Scarlet Hawks, 24-17. The student section back on their feet. The stands rocking as Arthur Gomes releases the serve. Set up on the far side, a block. Brookline able to survive. Here is Guerra, and he drives it down for the point that ends this match. Milford with a 25-17 win in set number 4, and they will take this match by a margin of 3-1. Credit to Brookline, who gave Milford a fierce battle all night long. Every set was close. But in the end, the Scarlet Hawks will take it. So with the victory, the Scarlet Hawks will improve to 2-0 now on the young season. And with the loss, Brookline falls in their season debut, so they will start off the season at a mark of 0-1. So a successful start to the campaign for this Scarlet Hawks team with deep playoff ambitions. Again, they'll have another home game later this week against Medfield. We'll keep an eye on the sky moving forward this week to see if we can get you any more spring sports coverage here in this first week of April. Rain and snow on the way as the season goes on, so we'll see what happens. Stay close to our social media for all of the latest details on our Scarlet Hawks athletics coverage. But that's going to wrap things up here for tonight. A big thank you to Patrick Garapi for helping out on the coverage, and I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, Milford with a 3-1 victory over Brookline. We hope you have enjoyed this presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV, presented by the Rail Trail Flatbread Company. So long, everybody.